So, greeting everyone. We welcome Mr. Avanish Mundhra as a speaker for today's discussion on the topic Transforming Indian Education, Preparing for a Future-Ready India. He is the founder and CEO of Cantilever Labs that trains students like us to get into their dreams corporations. He also has valuable working experience in companies like Future First and Erudite. I would now like to invite our fellow team members, Path and Stuti, to carry forward this interview with Mr. Avanish. Thank you.
Hello, sir. A very warm welcome. Looking forward for an insightful session with you. So, sir, my first question would be, you have been a corporate employee for quite some time. So, what was that spark moment which made you leave your post and start your own business? Or was it something that you've always planned?
Okay. First of all, thank you, Aman, for the introduction, and thank you, Stuti and Parth. The spark moment. So I've been a guest lecturer, recruiter, mentor across all IITs, IIMs, and ITs bits since 2009, and something which I think everybody in the world knows, that there is a big gap between industry and academia, and I would see that gap very evident in all the top colleges across the country also. I always felt that something can be done over there, and in 2016 I was invited for an industry academia meet in which the agenda was that can we quantify the gap between industry and academia. So after an hour-long informal discussion, the conclusion was that the academia is 7 years behind, which basically means what is needed in 2022 by the industry, as per the curriculum, will be taught in 2029. And the second conclusion was the way startup space is exploding, this gap will widen to 13 years, which basically means what is needed in 2022 will actually be delivered by the academic curriculum in 2035. And that's what the trigger point, which made me think that something can be done over there. As a matter of fact, I wrote my resignation letter on 3rd of December when I was at IIT Bombay interviewing students. And on 8th, I was back in office after my travel, and I gave my resignation because I wanted to do something in the education space, a space which I'm very, very passionate about.
Surely, sir, when there's a will, there's a will. There's a will, there's a way. Over to you, Parth.
Good afternoon, good evening, sir. I'm Parth as well. So, very rightly said that the education sector is lacking a lot. We are, I did not know the exact statistics, but now that I know, it's a bit frightening to see that we can be 13 years behind on what we have to do, on what we have to be learning today. So, my question to you would be that you started Cantilever Labs in 2018. So, since that time, you have mentored and inspired many students from diversified fields and backgrounds. And so, I would like to ask you how you were as a college student, and what is the difference you feel in the approach and mindset of students of your time and students of today's time?
Okay, first of all, Parth, very good evening. I'm a big fan of Indian education system. I'm a product. My son is a product. My father was a product, and I don't think there's any education system which is better than the Indian education system. I'm not really pinpointing or punching any hole. I'm just saying that there is some gap which needs to be filled, resulting which company like Cantilever Labs came into picture. Okay, so you want me to compare the present students versus when I was a student. So there is something called minimum resources maximum utilization, which basically means the kind of investment that we want to do in studying versus the kind of return that we expect from that investment is extremely exponential. Minimum resources mean utilizing minimum amount of time. Maximum utilization means getting a placement with the maximum paycheck. That was the case when I was in college. That is the case when you guys are in college. Nothing much has changed. That is point number one. Point number two is students study only when a certain body part of theirs is on fire. That was the case when I was a student. That is the case which is now also. So that hasn't changed. That's how it all works. But yes, now the students are very, very well informed. They have a lot of choices to make, and sometimes it also hurts them. And because there are so many choices, it becomes overwhelming. What to choose and what not to choose, because everybody is amazing and everybody is terrible. So I would say those are a couple of changes. Broadly, student mindset and the way they work hasn't really fundamentally changed in any which way.
All right, sir. So one more question. so since you started working for Cantilever Lab and you founded Cantilever Lab, have you seen a change in the education system? Like, are we bridging the gap, that 7 year or 13 gap? Are we working towards bridging that gap?
So Cantilever Labs till date has placed around 85,000 students from 160 plus colleges. If I give you the actual statistics, that is only 3.09% of the number of students who are in the final year right now as we speak. And I'm only talking about technical education. I'm not talking about commerce. I'm not talking about MBAs. I'm not talking about medical. I'm not talking about law and arts. I'm only talking about technical education. Gap is definitely, very frankly, I will need maybe 10 lifetimes to fill the gap. And people like me, there can be 100 Avanish, there can be 1,000 Cantilever Labs, yet the gap cannot be filled. Idea is not to fill the gap. Idea is to bring them closer. That's about it. So the closer we bring in, the better we are doing as far as our goal, as far as our mission and vision is concerned, as far as Cantilever Labs is concerned. So if I say we have bridged the gap, A, that would be wrong. And second, that would be stupidly bold. I will never ever say that. I would probably not be able to say that in 20 years time from now also. But yes, we are bringing them together. It's basically a catch-up game. Industry is moving at a speed which is 10x. Academics is moving at a speed 2x. With a vehicle like Cantilever Labs, that academics starts moving with a speed of 6x, but still there's a gap between 10x and 6x.
That's amazing, sir. That's really good to know. Over to you, Stuti.
Sir, this question I really wanted to ask you. Startups have become a very popular word amongst today's youth. There are government policies for promoting startups. Big investors are increasingly investing in new business ideas and startups. But not every business works. So do you think that people should opt for a stable job over a startup?
Okay, my first question to you is, to have a startup, what do you need? To build a startup, what do you need, Stuti?
Sir, we need a good idea, then a team, design and tech team, then we need marketing team. These are some requirements we need.
Parth, what do you need?
Co-founder.
So, like Stuti mentioned, we need a good idea. We need the proper will to implement it. Basically, that idea should be something that works towards a problem.
It's okay.
It should be offering a solution.
I'm not getting into the nitty-gritty of it. I'm just asking, if I tell you that Stuti and Parth, you have to start a startup, what do you need? You gave me things in order. First was team. First was idea. Second was team. And third, marketing in whatever way you want to do it. But that's the thing. That's a very, very good answer, because typically when I ask people that what do you need to build a startup, the first answer that I get is money. In my list of items, if I have a list of 10 items, money would be probably on 8th. Because even if I get money, if I don't have an idea or a team to use that money, I will probably end up punching a big hole in people's money or my own money. So you need an idea first, which you guys rightly said. You need a team to execute that idea, which you also rightly said. So that's good. So the second thing that you told me is they should have a stable job. What's your definition of a stable job?
Sir, a good salary, a monthly salary. Like you know that at the end of the month you'll get a particular income actually, not depending on a business.
I'm sorry, I have become an interviewer now, and you guys are answering my questions. But let's keep it that way. So I'll tell you what. There's nothing called stable job in the world. Absolutely not. Virat Kohli was the undisputed captain of all the biggest formats of cricket, of the biggest team of the world just 3 months back. And suddenly the world has completely changed in 3 months' time. And he has not done any wrong. He has got every single possible awards that India could think of or dream of, yet he's not in the scheme. That doesn't mean that he's bad. That doesn't mean that his leadership is questioned. It is just that the word stable is a little overrated. There is no stable job in the world. A good job is that job that helps you grow personally, professionally. It keeps you happy. It gives you time to also take care of other things in your life. And yet, at the end of the day, it also gives you a decent amount of money to have a good standard of living. If you ask me between job and startup, what one should do, one should work for some time, understand how an organization works, even from a small team level. I could be a team of 3 people in an organization which has got 30,000 people. I see on a micro level how a team is working, and also in some time I will see at a macro level how a branch or a city or a country or a continent or entire world is working as far as my company is concerned. I learn a lot of things. So basically you get two kinds of learning: what to do and what not to do. And once you have that, your brain and your psyche and your subconscious is automatically programmed, automatically, polished to probably do slightly better than someone who's starting a startup right after the college. I'm not saying you cannot do it. The game is not about possibility. The game is about probability. So if you've worked, then you are highly more probable to take better decisions, at a wiser interval of time. Your cost of failure will be less when compared to someone who's doing a startup right after college. Having said that, there are so many startups who are fantastic who have started right after college. So there is no black and white answer to it, but it's my personal experience that I'm saying that a little bit of work experience and then a startup, you can do wonders.
Sure, sir, sure. You've been very insightful to us. Over to you, Pat.
Yes, as Priti mentioned, was indeed an insightful answer. I myself am a second year college student, so I am looking for internships and work experience and everything. And this startup world have always been a bit interesting, especially with Shark Tank and everything. It has added that reality thing to it. So the startup world looks really intriguing, and so yeah, thank you so much for your answer. So second question that I'd like to ask you is, Cantilever Labs offers a unique proposition. So when you left the company and you wanted to work in the education sector, how did you thought about this venture, and how has it refined over the years given the continuously changing needs of the millennials and the COVID pandemic?
Okay, so how I found basically Cantilever Labs. Of course, I told you that bulb jalne ka moment was very evident in 2016 in the meet that I was invited in. There is a 3P advantage. One is professionally you need to upskill to keep on climbing up the ladder. Personally also you need to upskill because you cannot stay with the same degree or with the same knowledge for a long period of time. The first one is professional, second one is personal, and third one is political. If you see, upskilling is in the topmost agenda of any central and state government, not limited to India but across the world. So upskilling is a very natural business to be in. And why Cantilever Labs? So I don't know if you guys understand the difference between customer and consumer. I'll give you a simple example. For example, if you have a younger sibling who's studying in class 6, 7, and your parents buy any K to 12 education, say they buy a Byju's course for that little sibling of yours. So if you see, the consumer is the little kid, but the customer is your parent because they are the one who's paying. If you enter a business in which customer and consumer are different, then your marketing budget needs to be extremely high, because I have to woo your father or mother so that we can sell them a product which eventually will be consumed by their little ones. And that's the reason why Shah Rukh Khan is there in maybe Byju's ad, because the people who need to be impressed, the decision makers, would be invariably parents. In my industry, in skilling industry, consumer and customer invariably are same. You are the one who's upskilling, you are the customer, and you are the consumer. So the budget is less, so it becomes a more natural business to be in. So that was some of the trigger points. And also, our vision is job ready India. Our vision is let's make the world job ready, and let's start with India. So there is no better feeling than helping a Parth or a Stuti or a Aman to get his or her dream career. Just a few months back, someone asked me, because I was the global head in my previous company. I was managing 2 continents, and someone who had read my profile and very well, and one of the senior person in one of the colleges, she asked me, do I earn well? My answer was, I'm not sure about the earning, but I sleep very well, because the kind of change which we are bringing. So if we help Parth or if we help Stuti, it's not the individual who's getting helped. It's the family who are getting uplifted, maybe friends, maybe society, a small little effect. But if you multiply that 85,000, it's amazing. So these are few reasons why.
So, and how has Cantilever Labs refined over the years? What all did you do? Maybe the COVID pandemic and everything. What all changed?
Crazy. Cantilever Labs refines every day. Morning when the sun rises, Cantilever Labs is different. By the time sun sets, Cantilever has evolved one notch. And right now, as I'm talking to you, we are in the middle of a war that is going on from last 4 days. And the war is just not ending. It has become so extreme that now I want my life to be boring for next 2-3 days, because last 3-4 days has been crazy. How has Cantilever Labs evolved? The first 2.5 years, we were a service industry. We were a service company. Parth and Stutis of the world, they want training program from us, and we train for multiple industries, right? From finance, consulting, and product development, data science, high AI, ML, blockchain, cloud computing, cybersecurity. So the first 2.5 years, we were a service industry. Parth needs a cloud computing course or Parth needs a consulting course. We go and provide 100 Parth consulting course. But in 2 years' time, we were collecting data. We were trying to understand the student psyche, student mindset, and we built a product around it. So now we have a beautiful technical infrastructure around which your entire training program is intertwined. So that technically, that has been one of the evolution. And the team has grown. It started as one-man show. Now we are a team of 14 people. We are 3 co-founders. We have around 35 interns. We have around 360 plus subject matter experts. So by team ways also, it has grown good. The vision has definitely opened up. And that will happen that will happen on a daily basis. We get to see more things. We realize from our own mistake. The most important, the students whom we have collaborated with, they have been the strong force in building our training program, in building our technical infrastructure. So that is there. Yeah, and I've got, I would say, 15-20 white hairs on my head. So that has also been one of the changes. Yeah, but that's about it. Yeah, so I play a lot. I play a lot of tennis and I work a lot. That's what I do.
Exactly. So it's amazing to hear what you am. When I was researching about you, it felt like, okay, this is a startup. It's in the education industry and it's working towards that. And yeah, it's really great and all and everything. And it would be good to interact with such a personality and everything. But now to actually listen to your thoughts and your opinions, it really acts as a motivational factor, because even in this society as well, in everyday college life, we are in different societies. So there's always a conflict of opinion and you're always discussing things. There's always hectic work. But that one thing, that one passion that drives us all is behind us. So thank you so much for this answer. And I really hope that you have 2 to 3 boring days. So
2 to 3?
Yeah, boring days.
Boring days. Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, this is one of the wishes that I'm looking for. Someone should just wish it that, okay, now next 3 days will be boring for you.
So we at FIC Aryabhatta, we wish you 2 to 3 boring days.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So Stuti, over to you.
Sir, I also wish that you win the war. Also, sir, this question I wanted to ask, that since the pandemic, the corporate culture has changed a lot. All the employees started working from their homes. Business meetings and travels turned into Zoom calls. We are also doing a Zoom call right now. And now we are hearing about the metaverse. What impact do you think that this will have on future job requirements? What type of jobs will be high in demand in next 5 years?
Yeah. In fact, I genuinely think that the way recruitment is done will have a fundamental shift. And what I tell a lot of my students is that you do a role play. For example, Stuti, that which company do you want to work in, or which industry do you want to work in?
Sir, right now nothing is on my mind.
Okay, which industry, which company, anything in your mind?
Nothing as of now, but I want to explore the social entrepreneurship area a bit more. So maybe something on those lines.
Okay, so let me create a company for you. Say that you guys want to work in finance and you want to work in JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, right? So a lot of time I tell my student that if I have Stuti who wants to work in finance, who wants to work in JP Morgan Chase, I tell her to do a role play. You become the recruiter of JP Morgan and write down what are the 5 things or 10 things that I would look for. Yeah. If you see the interviews are highly overrated, because a lot of time I myself have been a recruiter and I understand the mindset of a lot of recruiters out there. They want to hire the individual. They want to hire you as a person you are, as a personality, as an attitude that you have, rather than what you know for one certain subject or one certain formula or from one certain internship. And eventually the recruitment would be shifted. It will be a more skill-based recruitment. rather than giving you a test in which you score X out of Y. And if you score above X, you are shortlisted for interview. And if you score below X, you're not shortlisted. Eventually, all these things will go away, and maybe they will ask you something very, very different, which is something that we are building at Cantilever Labs. And hopefully by the end of this year, we will be able to build that infrastructure, which will be very, very exciting. One thing that I really connect with, as I said, I play a lot of sports. You might fake in an interview, but you cannot fake in a sports. If I make you play cricket, you cannot fake there. But if I ask you in an interview room, maybe you can. I'm not saying everybody is faking, but maybe you can. So that will be there. There will be a fundamental shift in which recruitment is done. Skills will be right up the alley. They look for people who are skilled. For example, you're a commerce graduate. Can you give me 2 skills that you have other than your commerce graduation? I want hard skills. Don't tell me now. You can answer yourself later that, okay, I have skill number 1 and skill number 2. These are my skills. You could be fantastic at Excel. That is skill number 1. You could be great at making presentation, or you could be at people management. That is skill number 2. So you should have 2 top skills which you can actually make them verify, which you can show them. You say you are great in Excel, I'll give you one data set. I'll tell you one problem statement, solve it. And if you're great at Excel, you'll be able to solve it. So that will definitely happen as far as world is going ahead. The fact that everything is online, it is more black and white now. Earlier, when I'm coming to your campus for recruitment, I have 100 odd people who are sitting for the process, maybe 20 interviews. I might select 2. Your college might ask me to select 4. I might do it. But now everything is online. I don't have to come to you. You will be coming in whichever link that I give you, and like you, 1,000 more will be coming. So the filtration process will be more tougher. Skills will be brought up the alley. And yes, the recruitment test will also fundamentally change. That will happen in 3-4 years' time. You guys don't have to worry. You guys are sitting for placement next year. Chill. Things would be better. Fine.
Sure, sir. Over to you, Parth.
All right. So, very rightly mentioned, sir. And yes, that we all have to learn a lot of skills. And there's something that being a college student, I have seen in the first years as well. They are all so skilled because because of this online mode of teaching, you go to your home and you just sign up for a course on Coursera, Udemy, and everything, and you read about that course, you learn, you upskill yourself, you make your resume, your CV look a bit better. So all of that, and yeah. So my next question to you is, sir, what major differences do you see in education in India and abroad? And do people who go abroad have an edge over those who study here?
I'm a big fan of Indian education system. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it does, sir.
So the difference I don't think I'm educated enough to give an answer to that. I'm sure there are people who probably will give a much better answer. I should not even take an effort. I think one thing that I can definitely say. So my office is here in a college, in one of the top colleges here in Hyderabad, and we work with a lot of engineering colleges. And typically, if you see, engineering colleges should focus a lot on research, which is the case with colleges outside India. The research-focused colleges are aplenty over there. As far as India is concerned, research-focused colleges can be counted in fingers of only one hand. And probably I'll still have a couple of them empty. So research is something that needs to be there. A more practical approach, to in the labs and all those things needs to be done. I was speaking to a very senior man just a week back who did his electrical engineering in 1984 from one of the best college in the country. He was invited in the college, and he was in college, I think 1 month back, and he just wanted, out of curiosity, he said, I want to see a couple of books. He was amazed to see that how much, 1638, after 38 years, the same book is being used. The one who's graduating in 2022 is also using the same book which he used when he was in 1984. I'm not saying there's a problem with the book. Maybe that's the Bible on which everything is working. That's the Gita on which everything is working. But maybe a little more practical approach is better.
I agree, sir. There's something that the education system is really lacking. We focus on bookish knowledge and even ourselves, we do want to have a lot more practical experience, which we get from co-curricular activities. So that thing is there, but yes, it can be refined a bit.
Parth, I will correct yourself. Education system is not lacking. I mean, it's it's a very individualistic choice. I'll give you a classic example. You entered your graduation college in 2020.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and you're going to graduate in 2023.
Yes, sir.
It's a 6 semester degree, or it's a 6 months
6
each?
semester.
Okay, so basically you had maybe you had 2 winters and 3 summer breaks.
Ideally,
across
I
3
should
years?
have. Yeah, ideally I should have, but because of COVID, I didn't.
It's okay, but typically you will have 2 winters and 3 summer breaks.
Yes, sir.
I'll ask a very simple question. How many breaks are done so far? 3 are done?
Yes, sir.
What did you guys do? Did you do anything in those breaks?
So
I'll tell you. You don't have to, in fact, give me an answer. Education system is not lacking, but the breaks, for example, some of the best students that I've met in my life, in commerce graduation, there are 5 breaks. In engineering college, there are 7 breaks. They utilize at least 80% of them. In commerce, they will utilize at least 3. In engineering, they utilize at least 5. And how do you utilize it? The best resumes of the world, if you pick up, not limiting my conversation only to India, pick up a Harvard resume, pick up an MIT resume, pick up an IIM Ahmedabad resume, pick up an IIT Bombay resume, pick up an SRCC resume. The best resumes are those who have done something or the other in these breaks. And what can you do? If you guys can have a startup on your resume, that's amazing. If you guys can have an same industry internship on your resume, that's amazing. If you guys can work in an NGO, that's amazing. If you guys can do something crazy, absolutely crazy, which has got no correlation with your studies, degree, future, life, whatever it is, that's amazing. If you have these kind of variations or contrasting things on your resume, it tells me that I'm speaking to someone who's probably near complete. And the resume already does the job for you. Even now, on the day of the interview, you just have to go and accept and get whatever. So I will just correct you because, as I said, I'm a big fan of Indian education system. The education system is not lacking. As an individual, we have to do things to make sure that we survive and thrive in this existing system.
All right, so I completely agree. And as I mentioned, that is something that that especially as I am a part of Delhi University, I saw that we have so many different society and all these co-curricular activities, etc. So it gives us a lot of exposure.
Yes.
Like something like this session, if I was not a part of the society, I would not have gotten a chance to listen to your insights, and maybe I would have been completely unaware about stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, so okay, thank you for correcting me, sir. Moving on, so there are a lot of people who they want to they think there are better job opportunities abroad rather than India, and there are some statistical figures as well to prove that fact. So do you think that if you study abroad, that will be more advantageous to you if you want to get a job there?
No, I think the thing with India is the population that we sit in, 1.4 billion. It's not a joke. It's actually something very big thing. But I'm a big fan of India. I'm a big fan of education system also. मैं यहाँ हूँ, तुम यहाँ हैं, सब यहीं पर हैं. Opportunities are everywhere. ऐसा बात नहीं है कि इंडिया में नहीं है या बाहर नहीं इंडिया में है. Opportunities are everywhere. It's down to individual. But yes, what happens internationally, if you're going to good universities, good colleges, good places, then the network that they have automatically does 30-40% of the work for you. But there are so many people, there are thousands of people I've met, who have gone out, and they really, I would not say they could not do anything, but they probably did not find something that they would like to do. And they came back to India and they are super successful. Not because they were disappointed or dejected over there. It is just that something was not to my liking, and they came back to India and they are super successful. So having a hard line that going outside, studying outside is a more opportunistic thing rather than India, I don't think I will ever have that hard line approach.
All right, sir. Okay. Thank you so much for your answer. Over to you, Stuti.
Totally, sir. I also agree with you. It depends on the person and the opportunities he's using. That totally depends on how the person is, not about if he's going abroad or studying in India. Sir, I also wanted to ask you, you've said many times earlier also and now also in the interview that there's a big gap between college trainings and industrial requirements. So what necessary steps could be taken by educational institutions to overcome this gap?
Okay, first of all, when someone is designing the syllabus of your college, industry people need to be part of that team. I'm guessing they are, but I'm guessing it's time that couple of startups also enter this team. For example, there are few colleges who have made me a part of their academic designing team, and every now and then we speak, we decide ki kya karna hai, kya nahi karna, and I tell them that what's happening and where are we moving. So that needs to be done. And second is the biggest problem that the country faces is that the number of teachers out there are not many. And it's not that they are wrong. Teaching is not a very, very preferred job, primarily because of low pay scale. There's not much growth in there. And eventually you can even become the head of department, you can become the principal director like that, but nothing beyond it. Compared to that, there's a lot of opportunity in the industry, both in terms of pay scale and growth. So the teaching profession needs to be made more lucrative so that more bright, intellectual, individual people are coming to this profession and helping the society at a fundamental level. So teaching gap is there. If you pick up any university, starting from your college, I'm sure there are many positions that are unfilled. You know, there 20, 30, 40% positions will be unfilled. So that needs to be done. And a lot of industry academia gap needs to be there. And in almost every single college, Cantilever Labs should be there. So that way things will be sorted.
Definitely, sir, definitely. Over to you, Parth.
All right, sir. This is one of my most favorite questions. So there have been a recent trends of startup focused on promoting sustainability. Do you think that sustainability is the future as far as the startup world is concerned?
Come again, and you be a little more elaborative with your question.
All right. So this is something that I noted on Shark Tank as well, and there are a lot of new ideas which are coming up, and they are primarily focused upon sustainability. Be it an e-commerce website promoting sustainable clothing, sustainable products, be it a company which involves a technological intervention that focuses on sustainability. It can be something which tackles air pollution, maybe utilizes the pollutants in a better way, something related to stubble waste or something like that, basically promoting sustainable practices and everything, and tackling the problem of climate change. This is something that I have seen that startups are usually focused on these days. So do you think that this trend is something that will be there in the future, and is this the way to go forward now?
We have only one planet to live in, and it's only our owners, our responsibility to save it and secure it and keep it protected. If I have a way by which I can build a beautiful startup, bring great value to my customers, great value to my team, great value to my investors, and probably great value to my own self. And in doing that, if I can help Mother Earth, there is no better equation than this. Absolutely no. So sustainable clothing that you're talking about, or a sustainable technology which can help the climate control or the water scarcity or whatever kind of thing, the larger good that they are doing to the society is never quantifiable. Individuals like me and you, someone sitting in Delhi, someone sitting in Hyderabad, someone sitting in Seattle, in one way or the other are getting affected. And that larger good can never be quantified. So I think if there is an equation by which you are doing good to all the entities, which includes your customers, your team members, your investors, and yourself, and in the process you're doing a larger good to the society, there's absolutely nothing like it. I don't call Cantilever Labs a sustainable company because it doesn't get into the techno definition of sustainability, but that is what we are trying to do. If you see, we're trying to do good to our customers, which are students, our team member, which is Cantilever Labs team member. We have not taken any external investment so far, so that doesn't come into picture. And in the process, we are building students who are ready for industry. So they are building careers, they are spreading, spread across the world in all the top companies or any kind of company. And there's a larger good is that their career is being built. People whom we trained in 2018 give me a call or message me that, Avanish, I'm here and I'm just loving it. So yeah, that's happening. And if someone can do it like that, superb.
I completely agree, sir, and I would like to believe that Cantilever Labs is working towards a sustainable world. Because if we go towards the technicality, then one of the sustainable development goals is for quality education, and that is something that Cantilever Labs is providing. So, yeah, thank you so much for answering this question. I was really looking forward to your views on this. So, Stuti, over to you.
Sir, this question is very technical. I'll ask you though. But so there is a clash between effectiveness and ethics in something that managers, and it's something that managers face almost regularly. Which do you think is better, an ethical manager or an efficient manager?
Okay. Though it's a very, very technical question. So if you remember at the start of this session, I said I'll be ready for your bouncers and spinners. Here comes the first one. Yeah. For me, as far as I am concerned, when I was recruiting, I always rated intent over talent. Talent can be groomed. Intent cannot be groomed. Talent which is flawed or which is wrong can be corrected. But intent which is flawed, very difficult to correct it. So for me, ethics is more important, but we are a team of 3 co-founders, and I always tell them that I have a Tata way of thinking, and both of them are an Oyo way of thinking. And that's way all 3 of us becomes very complementary to each other. That I focus a lot on building I'm not saying they don't, but I maybe I might sound old school here, but for me, ethics, moral or honesty, trust is more important than anything else. So I would say, a more ethical manager. That doesn't mean I am an ineffective manager, but I am ethically effective manager, I can say.
You sure are, sir. You sure are. Over to you, Bart.
Very rightly said, sir. I also agree that ethical and effective behavior is something that should go hand in hand, and you need to have the right balance of both. But yes, so moving on to the next question.
I heard a very interesting statement. I mean, don't mind me here, but there's a very interesting quotation. Honesty is like being binary, or honesty is like being pregnant. Either you are or you are not. There's nothing called in between. You cannot be somewhat honest. Either you are honest or you're not honest. It's as simple. It's very black and white. It's very binary by nature.
All right. That's an interesting thought. I'd surely think about it more, because for me it was always, I honestly believe that there is somewhat of a gray area when you talk about ethical and effective behavior in regards to a business. Because if, for example, let's take the example of any sustainable startup, right? So if it has to be truly sustainable, then it needs to have that push. It needs to have a certain standing before it can honestly say that we are 100% sustainable. First of all, I believe that 100% to achieve 100% sustainability, that is something which is impossible. So there is always you have to have somewhat of a bigger room where you can justify some practices which might not be sustainable in order to become effective. So in that sense, there might be a sort of a gray area in between.
Yeah. First of all, there's nothing called impossible to achieve 100% sustainability. I don't know. It's a big and bold statement which is coming, because very frankly, I know people who are working towards a cause. It could be anything. It could be making a building, or making a sustainable clothing. If they are a startup, they are putting their heart, sweat, blood, time, effort, life, sacrifices, and maybe money into it. And they want it to be done for a larger cause, larger good. So I'm not saying that I will never accept that something is impossible. It could be a way of saying that, yeah, right now it is not possible, but probably we are on the path to get it on 100%, possible thing that can be there. So I would not agree with the 100% impossible statement that you gave. That's your view, but I don't think that should or is the case.
All right, sir. Okay, so moving on. Now, my next question to you would be: it is no secret that money is an extremely important commodity, especially in today's life. What, according to you, should be the most important and should be the main motivating factor behind setting up a startup? Should it be the valuation of the company and maybe how quickly it can become a unicorn, or should it be the core values and the solution that the company is offering, that the startup is offering?
Should create a product that makes a difference in the life of whoever is using it. And if you have honestly created a product which is really creating a difference in the life of person who's using it, then everything else, be it valuation, be it awards, be it money, everything else will follow. But till the time your product is not there, and product will never be there. Your product is there, then product version A, version 2, version 3, version 4, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3 will keep on coming. And you should be constantly on that path. So, and that is what they call product market fit. You create a product for a market and you find the fitment for it. But remember, the market is also evolving and your product should also be ever evolving. So A, if you have a great solution, which basically means a great product, which is really truly making a difference in student or anybody's life, everything else can follow the suit, no problem.
That's great, sir. That's amazing. So, yeah, Stuti, over to you.
Surely, sir, it's rightly said, change is the only constant. So you need to evolve your products with time. So I'm sorry, but this is again a technical question I'm really going to ask you. So a corporate employee spends a good amount of time in his or her office. Therefore, a healthy work environment is pretty much very necessary. But sometimes things don't go so well. What do you have to say about the toxic corporate culture? How to handle that? And have you faced anything similar in your past?
Okay. You play cricket, Tuti? But you're good at bouncers. You should get in the Insti cricket team. Okay.
I will surely try.
What do you mean by toxic? What do you mean by toxic work culture? What do you mean by that?
Sir, for me, a toxic corporate culture is there's no coordination. There's a lot of workload. They're expecting much more than employee could do, and there's no friendly relations between the employer. That's for me is a toxic corporate culture.
So I'll tell you what, if a culture of like this is there in the company, then company won't survive for long. That is number one. We run a startup. I am the receptionist of my startup. I am the CEO of my startup. I become the finance person of my startup. I am also the telecaller of my startup. And that's how it works. Because I cannot hire 5 people who will be doing this for me as of now. And multitasking is what people expect. I'll tell you what, when a recruiter is recruiting you, just because you know how to keep accounts well, how to make balance sheet, that skill set is not enough. I ask myself 3 questions. A, would I like to see Stuti's face every day in my office? If the answer is yes, then I go to second question. B, would I like to have Stuti next to me sitting every day in the office? If the answer to that is yes, then I go to the third question. Over and above accountancy, what else can Stuti do? Because every company, every college, everybody has a culture. Is a Stuti great fitment to my culture or she is a culture shock? And if the answer to any of these questions is no, I don't recruit you no matter who you are. Even if you are a superwoman or Parth is a James Bond, you will not be recruited because I need 3 answers for sure. Now, coming to your question, culture like that will not survive for long. And in fact, I know that there are cultural officers also in the company, in big companies wherein, you have to manage a branch or a pit or a city like that you have culture officers also that keeps things in check and keep on going. I'm guessing there is something called you are made to do a lot of things, or I'm guessing you were talking about work-life balance.
Yes.
Okay, that's a beautiful word which only exists in a dictionary. It doesn't exist in the real world. I'm not saying that you'll be completely imbalanced and you'll be only working, but it's very simple. Everybody in the world wants to do a 9 to 5 job, but those job doesn't exist anymore. There's nothing called 9 to 5. Yeah, even the government doesn't work at 9 to 5. So those job doesn't exist. You are expected to do ABC. That is what you think before you join the company. Once you join the company, DEF also opens up. Why DEF opens up? Because A, company wants it to be done, and B, company knows that Stuti can actually do it. For Stuti, it's also good. Your horizon has increased from ABC, it has become ABCDEF. It's good for your growth also. So if you are made to do a lot of other things, different things, and as long as it is helping you in building your skill set, your persona, you should be absolutely cool about it. That's my understanding. I could be wrong here, but that's what my understanding is. And as long as you have a sense that what you're doing is good for the company and good for yourself, keep doing it.
Surely, sir. Hard work and smart work go hand in hand. So we need to balance that also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yes, sir.
I think the best statement as far as this interview is concerned so far.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Parth.
Sure, sir. Rightly said by Stuti. So, what one piece of advice has played an extremely crucial role in your whole, journey, your professional journey, your personal journey, maybe, and you would like to share with our audience?
I'll tell you two things actually. A, I sit with one of the director of one of the best B schools of the country, and he has got a lot of interest in my organization. And when I started my company, 2018, so my son, who's currently in class 7, at that point of time, I think he was in 3 or 4, and there's something called Know Your Parents. And he doesn't ask me, he just gives my name that, okay, my father is coming, and he tells me that, okay, you have to come, you don't have a choice. So there was one session called Know Your Parents in which I had to go and explain 7, 8 years old what Cantilever Labs is doing. Before that session, I had my entire presentation for Cantilever Labs ready. But in that session, when I had to explain an 8-year-old about data science or cloud computing or product development, the entire presentation or the entire thought process of Cantilever Labs changed. So that was one awakening moment for me. And I was telling you about this director of one of the best B schools of the country. He gave me a very amazing piece of advice, and he told me that if you can make an 8-year-old understand your business, just one second. If you can make an 8-year-old understand your business, an 18-year-old appreciate your business, and a 28-year-old pay for your business, you are doing good. So we have done the 8 and 18 year we have already done, and so these are the two things that were really fundamental to me personally and to Cantilever Labs in changing to who we are right now.
That's amazing, sir. We are honestly, we are learning a lot of different approaches, different perspectives from you, and it's really exciting. One last question from my side: why Cantilever Labs? I mean, is there a story behind the name? It was really catchy, and it's something that I have been wanting to ask since a long time.
Thank you for asking. So Cantilever basically means bridge. It's the earliest form of bridge known to humanity. So we are bridging students from colleges to corporates.
All right. Okay.
Hence the name Cantilever.
Okay. That's over to you.
Sure. Sir, your golden words are now my golden words in my dictionary, the 20-year-old quote. I'm surely going on with that from now on. So you're inspiration to me now. So what I would request you to sum up your journey in a few words, like inspiring students who would want to be successful entrepreneurs one day.
Okay, so everybody who's in a startup space, including all the team members, are at war every day. I have felt 1,000 times to give up and 10,000 times to keep on going. And for me, giving up is very easy. I got a lot of offers on the way also, a lot of fantastic and very lucrative offers on the way also. For me, giving up was very easy, but I always keep my eye on the larger cause that's happening, and it's not very easy. It's very easier said. For me, sitting in this interview and giving a gyan is very easy, but right after the interview, when I have to enter the war, that's when it happens. But ask yourself, there was a point of time when one-day cricket was going on, and suddenly IPL and T20 has started. What do you enjoy more, 2020 or one-day cricket? I think more often than not, the answer would be very, very clear, 2020, because it's very fast-paced, it's very, very exciting. It starts and it finishes, and that's all. That's it. Startup space is like that. It's very, very exciting. You will lose 10 times every day. You will win only one. I don't know how many of you have played poker in your life, but if you know poker, I'm not telling you to go and play poker. Just keep studying, stay in your college and don't do anything else. But if you have played poker, the game of poker, if you have 10 hands, you have to just win 6. You don't have to win 10 on 10, because you can never win 10 on 10. So there are two strategies that you should have. A, win 60 to 70% of hands, that is 6 or 7. And second is maximize your gain and minimize your losses. You cannot eradicate your loss. Loss will happen invariably. But it's like minimize your losses and maximize your gains. So in a startup, if I felt like giving up 10 times or 100 times, I feel like going for it 1,000 times every day. So that is there. Don't take rash decisions. Again, I'm trying to. I don't want to be a. I don't want to give a sermon over here, wherein some bookish knowledge to you. But there has been so many times where something was on the table and I could have just taken it, but I held myself back because I knew that this might give me a momentary gain, but on long term this will be a loss. So on that day I felt bad, but eventually Cantilever Labs won. So those are few things, and keep partying, have one sports and a bar close to your home. That really helps.
Sir, thank you, sir. That was my last question. Thank you so much for joining us. Over to you, Parth.
Likewise, I have no question from my side. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Your words really motivated us a lot. And you mentioned that you had a presentation at the beginning. So for sure, we would be looking forward to that maybe next time. But yeah, and just one personal question. So Cantilever Labs is currently focused on the technical education side. So does it have any plans to expand to maybe other area of education, maybe commerce?
So we work with Symbiosis. Symbiosis engages us for few things. For example, educating their people for finance, consulting, marketing, operation, and strategy, and general roles, general MBA roles. So we work with a lot of MBAs also. I'm guessing last year I think we were very close to collaborative one of the top colleges of topmost college of the country, Commerce College in Delhi, and one more college in Bombay. But then COVID happened and things went a little astray. But we do a lot of finance, we do a lot of consulting, we do a lot of soft skills like resume building, group discussions, interviews. I'm not selling Cantilever Labs here. I'm just trying to answer your question. So we do that, and definitely commerce is one thing which is there high on my mind and on our Cantilever Labs mind, that when we have to expand horizontally, we would be doing that. But हम अभी भी कर रहे हैं.
That's great. Thank you so much for answering all of our questions, sir. It was a pleasure having you here. Now, I'd like to pass on to Madhumita.
Yeah, before Madhumita starts, just 1 second. Thank you so much, Parth. Thank you so much, Stuti. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you guys. The couple of bouncers that Stuti sent my way, fortunately, it did not hurt me. I hope they were fine, and it was nice interacting with you guys. The energy that youth brings on table is what keeps me and the entire Cantilever Labs team going. So keep up that energy, keep up that smile, and world is a great place because of people like you.
Thank you
so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Avinash sir. I'm sure we all have gained a lot of perspectives, and in the YouTube stream, people, all these students, they were made to think differently, and it was definitely a valuable session. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you, Parth and Stuti, for conducting this interview with sir. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you so much. All the very, very best. Take good care of yourself and everyone around you. It was nice talking, okay?
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, Parth and Stuti, for conducting this interview, and a big thanks to all of our audience. I could see the excitement in the comment section, and I'm sure we all have gained a lot of new things to think about. And meanwhile, I would also like to ask you something. Do you wish to level up your knowledge all the while receiving valuable certificates? So we bring to you Henry Harvin Education. It brings to you an amazing opportunity to gain valuable skills through certified courses, top class faculty, world class resources, guaranteed internship opportunities, boot camps, off campus placement support, hackathons, and also Henry Harvin's exclusive gold membership. You will get a whole lot of exciting opportunities. So join in for their exclusive stock market certified course and grade up your career path with Stock Market 9-in-1 live online training program, which will be available just for 399 rupees. And for more details, please see the description of this channel. And wait, we come the gala has not ended. Tomorrow we'll be having the final rounds for two very exciting competitions, that is Hatchet and Ace the Case, and also a very fun surprise event planned for you all. So with this, we come to the end of day 2 of Phenomena 2.0. I would like to now invite Madhumita, our core member, to conclude the day.
Thank you, Jigyasa. That was, indeed a wonderful and insightful session. And I hope our audience feel likewise. Thank you so much for all the speakers and the interview for joining us today and yesterday as well, and making this event a graceful and successful. And I would like to express my gratitude on behalf of Finance and Investment Cell of Aryabhatta College. And as Jigyasa mentioned, that we will have our closing ceremony tomorrow with an open mic and the main event of two competitions, that is Hatchet and Ace the Case. So stay tuned and do join us tomorrow to have a fun and include and have a engaging activities tomorrow. And with this we conclude these 3 days of conclave, that is Phenomena 2.0. Thank you so much. Thanks and regard.